All right, I think we're live.
You did it.
That must be it. That must be the countdown. All right, hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Jake Sussman. Happy Monday. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. I love this because we got people from all over the world watching us. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, my name is Jake Sussman. I am a dyslexia and ADHD change maker and entrepreneur on an epic quest to make sure that our kids find their voice. Now, during COVID, I started this awesome podcast where I interview entrepreneurs and change makers and innovators around the world of neurodiversity. And I actually have someone here, a former classmate, Tessa Zimmerman. I mean, it's been a long time. It's probably been since elementary school since we last spoke. But Tessa is doing some really cool stuff. So again, I'm going to keep reiterating this. Our community is about asking questions, about getting involved. Okay. So the more that you get involved, the more you ask, the more guaranteed someone else has the same question. Okay. So make sure you interact. We're watching the feeds, and let's just get right into it. Okay. So after growing up with severe anxiety and experiencing the lack of mental health resources in our schools, Tessa founded Asset Education to ensure teachers had the tools to help their students reduce their stress and strengthen their resilience. That's awesome. Today, this is unbelievable, guys. Asset, Tessa's organization, impacts 40,000 students each week. What? Yeah. She has been recognized by Forbes as a wildly successful millennial with an untraditional education. Her first book, I Am Tessa, was published in 2017. And in 2021, Tessa gave a talk at TEDxCherryCreekWomen called The Power of 5 Minutes for Your Mental Health. She lives in Boulder, Colorado. Tessa, reporting live. How you doing?
Jake, I just wish you could hype me up every morning. That's what I need. Some Jake Sussman energy. I'm doing well.
I got you.
Thank you for having me.
We're together on this one. So welcome, Tessa. I mean, tell me how did you get into all this? I mean, 40,000 students a week? What?
Yeah. Well, I feel like is so interesting about our stories is they parallel in certain ways without knowing it. So Jake and I went to elementary school, and while Jake was dealing with your ADHD and dyslexia, I was having really severe panic attacks in the classroom. And teachers perceived my panic attacks as a behavior problem because they weren't trained on how to navigate an anxious student. And so I was often sent to the principal's office. And this happened day after day after day. I'd have a panic attack in class, teachers didn't know what to do, wind up in the principal's office. And I internalized that as thinking I was a bad kid because no one named for me it was anxiety that I was experiencing. But I did really well academically. So school also wasn't too concerned about me. They're like, she has panic attacks, but she gets A's. She's fine. It wasn't until I got a full scholarship to a private school and learned really concrete, tangible tools to navigate my stress and anxiety. Completely changed my life. I went from being a kid who had panic attacks constantly and would refuse to go to school.
You would have panic attacks in the classroom.
Oh yeah.
What was that? Yeah. What was that? If you don't mind me asking, what was that like for you? Did you have to storm out? Were you embarrassed with your friends watching? What was that like having panic attacks?
I was super embarrassed. I felt really out of control and I felt really frustrated. It's really scary to have a panic attack, right? Especially when you're 8 and you're like, I don't know what's happening.
What's happening to me? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like Jake at one time I was sent to the buddy teacher and I might have been sent to your Thursday.
I think I saw you at one point in the back of the classroom.
Yeah, that was
probably saw me too. I mean, it was a swap.
They were just exchanging places.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, for our kids and for parents watching this, I mean, do your kids ever experience panic attacks? I mean, this is something that it's a real thing. And that comes with emotional intelligence, right? Being able to pinpoint what's happening to my body, why am I reacting this way? So you were in school and you struggled with anxiety. Did you stay throughout public school? Like, at what point did you go to private school?
I left.
So the follow-up question to that is, what was it like with telling your friends that you were no longer going to be in that school?
Yeah, I left at the end of 7th grade. It was very sneaky. My private school, their last day of school was like June 1st, and I transferred like May 28th. So that I got an extended summer, which was really nice. But I remember like sitting on, my mom made me write thank you notes to my teachers before I left, to my public school teachers. And I remember writing these thank you notes to them, and having this like feeling of, oh my gosh, like I'm about to go to a new school. I've been with the same group of students since I was in kindergarten, and now I have to make a whole new group of friends. That felt really daunting. But I also knew, I was like, nothing's going to change if I don't get out of this school. Like, my anxiety is not going to change if I don't try something else. And so I knew I had to.
Yeah. I mean, you and I share a very similar story in that sense, because when I was in 6th grade, so we both, for those that are watching from Westport, Connecticut, that's where Tessa and I are from. That's where we went to school. And yeah. And, there's, every school district has their strengths and challenges. But in this case, we were really struggling with the special education in Westport. And I was pulled out in 6th grade at Coleytown Middle School. And same thing, like pulled out of classrooms, being able to, like, I would have these, not like freakouts, but I would react all the time because my guard was up, and it was upsetting and confusing. And I remember being told by certain individuals at the school that I would never go to college because of my behavior. It was ridiculous. So how do you expect a kid having panic attacks, having learning differences, just being different in school? How do you expect them to navigate school when they're being told all of these things? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that, when I told my mom we were going to have this conversation, Jake, she was like, the other thing they didn't talk about is like, my parents felt a lot of shame, right? Like, no one was talking about it. And she was like, I feel like I'm the odd one out. It wasn't until I left that all these parents started reaching out to her because we had done something different. And that they wanted to know why I'd left the school, and more stories of other kids having anxiety and not being treated well by the school started to arise. But it wasn't until, it was like this thing we didn't talk about. Right. And I think that was hard.
In Westport, I mean, that's a big thing, especially in towns that are affluent towns, right? And like, it's like an unspoken thing. Like, it's so competitive. It's so competitive that there's that fear of social isolation, especially among parents. I mean, look, parents also go down this journey too, right? And it's a big challenge. I mean, clearly you found yourself, right? You found your niche, your superpower. But it wasn't always like that. What point did you realize that you wanted to go back in education to fix it? Like, did you always want to do that? Where was that aha moment?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll tell a quick anecdote and then we'll go there, because I think it will be helpful. I do like them too. It's in my TEDx talk. But on my first day at my new school, I didn't want to go. I felt paralyzed in the passenger seat of my mother's car. Because like you said, Jake, I was like afraid to make new friends and be in a new school. And my immediate thought was, I'm going to have panic attacks. I'm going to get in trouble, and this is going to happen all over again. And I'm going to embarrass myself in front of a new group of students. And so I told my mom as she pulled up to the school building, like, I can't go in. I just can't. And she's like, that's it. I'm getting Mrs. Inwood. And Mrs. Inwood was the school director. So of course I start to panic more, because here I am, my first day at my new school, and I'm already getting in trouble. I'm sure. Yeah, it's like, I'm ready for it. Yeah. But what happens is pretty remarkable. So my mom and Mrs. Inwood walk out of the school building together. But then Mrs. Inwood does the most remarkable thing she could do. She tells my mom to go for a walk, and she opens up the driver's side door of my mother's car and sits down, which is terrifying because here is this like stranger sitting next to me.
So it's just you and this stranger.
Yeah, right. Who I don't really know.
Right.
But I know she's my principal. Like, that's all I know. And she's sitting with me in my mother's car. And she looks at me with the most loving and caring eyes. I'm trying to hold back the tears. And she's like, honey, what are you feeling right now? And this is like really profound in my life because for most of my life, educators had only asked me the question, are you okay? And I always found that question to be infuriating because if you looked at me, you could tell I was not okay. But what are you feeling right now is a different type of question. It was an invitation to start to unpack and understand my anxiety and what it felt like in my body.
How powered words, what words can do just by changing one of them, right?
Right. And it's also like, Jake, instead of being sent to the principal's office or getting in trouble, like for having anxiety, being like, what's happening in your body? Can you describe this for me? Because I want to understand you better. Right. It was just a completely change in the experience for me. And it made school safe because she named for me. She's like, you're not in trouble for having anxiety. You're not in trouble for having panic attacks. Your only job is to get into the school building each day. And I tell that story because I realized that the Mrs. Inwoods, the educators like her are out there, but maybe they need more tools. And so in high school, I decided that I wanted to try to find those educators and give them more tools so students don't have to suffer like you and I did in school.
Okay, so that was the aha moment. And by the way, I really feel for your experience. Like in your share, coming from Westport and knowing exactly, because we were in the same school.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what that experience was like. And the thing is, Tessa, unfortunately, it's not just in Westport. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Right. So asset. Okay.
My favorite subject.
The best subject. Okay. Tell me about, so finding yourself, you're building more confidence, you're in a better school, right? At what point did you say asset?
Well, it's Tessa spelled backwards. So it's not.
Whoa. Hello. That's awesome.
Fun little marketing tool.
Nice.
Yeah. I like wasn't sure I wanted to go to like a traditional college. Like I wasn't sure what that looked like for me because like you, Jake, I'd been told that I wouldn't go to college. Like that just wasn't. Those cards weren't on the table.
In school, when you were in Westport school?
I was told by a therapist, but around the same time. So yeah, that was not helpful. So I feel for you, Jake. And I saw that there was this like new university opening. It's called Watson, and it was for next generation social entrepreneurs. And like the idea was that you were going to like build your company while doing undergrad. And I was like, I want to go there. Yeah. So it's like, I want to go there. Like I didn't apply to any other school. I just applied there.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's called Watson?
It's called Watson. It's now called the Watson Institute, but yeah. Okay. I applied there because I knew that I wanted to go, work with teachers, get this program out. And that seemed like the best fit for me to go do that. And it was a super small program and I got in. And luckily was able to write my thesis on this idea of what if you trained teachers in stress management, self-reduction tools that they could implement in their classrooms.
Right. So, but why not go directly to the students? Why are you going to the teachers?
That's a great question. Because I felt like teachers are who I spent a large part of my day with, right? Mm-hmm. And like that was a lot of the trauma that was caused for me was how teachers reacted to me. Because I feel like there were so many panic attacks that could have been prevented if my teachers had the right tools, right? If my teachers had the same understanding. And because I didn't have that, I wanted to change that for other kids. And so it's like, I want to start working with teachers because I had the experience of working with teachers who knew the importance of self-regulation, who knew the importance of stress management, who knew how important their ability to self-regulate themselves was for my own well-being. And so I wanted to recreate that experience for others. And that's how Asset came to be.
Wow. There was a study done by the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, Dr. Mark Brackett. And in his book, Permission to Feel, he talks about this. By the way, everyone should get that book and also Tessa's book. Okay. So for those of you that don't know Tessa's book, it's called I Am Tessa. Where can people get your book, by the way?
It's on Amazon. You can Amazon.
Go to Amazon. I Am Tessa. You have to get it. It's already en route. I just ordered it. I'm so excited to read it. So nice. But you know what? Like, that's what he was talking about. Was they did a massive survey of educators, and they asked, what is a word that represents your experience in the classroom? What do you think that was? I mean, stressed.
Yeah.
So when we're stressed, that impacts our ability to make decisions. So now this teacher has to manage 25 students, 5 of which most likely, because 1 out of 5 kids have some sort of learning disability, is going to be learning differently. Now this teacher is stressed, having to manage 25 students in the classroom. And they're also a human being. They're not a robot. They have their own things that they're dealing with. So I think it's brilliant to go. You're going to the source. You're going to the source. So let's talk about that. What do you do for the teachers? How are you helping them become more emotionally intelligent if that's what you're doing? Tell me.
Yeah. So I would say what we do is we recognize that teachers have a great deal of care, but a finite amount of time to create materials to help their students, right? To put like social emotional tools into the classroom and to create their own curriculum. So what we do at Asset is we built a curriculum of bite-sized social emotional learning tools using mindfulness, positive psychology, and positive self-talk. What's really neat about our lessons is that all of them take less than 10 minutes to implement, so teachers can use them at the start of an academic class.
Wow.
And what we found is that we give, educators, like, here's the presentation, here's the lesson plan, here's the script, here's everything you need to deliver these materials. We try to make it as easy as possible as we can for teachers so that these tools are actually getting into the hands of students. So teachers have the capacity to get to, lead the tools.
Wow. And have you seen, you've been in business, you've been around for almost 6 years now. Mm-hmm. So you must have seen tremendous growth from that. I mean, yeah. What are you seeing? And then, could this spark a movement for education on emotional intelligence?
I hope so. So you would find this funny, Jake. My first grant came from Denver Public Schools. So Denver Public Schools gave a 20-year-old, a senior in college, they gave me $9,000. And I thought it was the best thing ever. And they're like, we believe in you enough to give you this grant to get this program started in our district. And we got a research partner, which was probably the best thing we could get at that time. Yes. And we studied Asset in 2 high school classrooms. And I was like, dear Lord, I hope this goes well. I'm betting on this.
Everything's on the line. All the eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Come on. 2 groups of 16-year-olds. You can do this. And we saw 50% reduced their self-perceived stress and 60% increased their mindfulness awareness. So almost their ability to focus. And 82% wanted to continue learning the tools. And this was just once a week. They're once a week learning a concrete stress-reducing tool, and we're seeing those results. And so we were like, okay, that's super positive. Let's keep studying this. So we study it across 3 high schools in Denver. We have a traditional public, a charter, and innovation school. And we see that 60% of students across these 3 different schools experience a statistically significant reduction in their stress.
Oh my
having
gosh.
One tool once a week.
Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Do you guys hear that watching? That's unbelievable.
It's it goes to show us that we can make a bite-sized change, right? This is 5 to 10 minutes once a week, but it can have a profound impact in someone's life. And I think it goes a long way when teachers say, I hear you, I know it's hard right now, we're going to practice a tool. Because like you said, Jake, right now we're living in a national state of emergency for youth mental health. That's the current climate, right? And so we can take these bite-sized moments out of the academic day to press pause and teach students strategies on how to cope.
You know what you're doing though? I think this, I preach this all the time because in our mentorship program, we're seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's looking at the whole child. Our education system is so geared towards IQ based learning that there's a whole other part to it that we're not even thinking. Oh, sorry, other way. You can't see that. There's a whole other part to it that we're not even thinking about. I forget. Right. This is like backwards. So
it's very confusing.
Very confusing, right? But that's the thing. Kids are like, oh, I didn't do well. I'm a failure. But what they didn't realize was that they didn't do well because they're so triggered by the very thing that they're learning, and they don't have the emotional literacy to be able to put words to their feelings. And then the teachers are like, well, you're a behavioral problem, right? That was me. I was a behavioral problem.
Me too.
I was just a nightmare. I was a nightmare. Now, look, we have a lot of parents watching this. Shout out to my parents. Parents watching this, please give a shout out to yourself. You guys are, I'm telling you, this is a never-ending battle that our generation is on a mission to stop, okay? Just so you know, we're warriors. We're fighting for your kids, okay? So also give Tessa some love, okay? Please just like give her some hearts, give her some love because she is incredible. And thank you again, Tessa, for doing what you do. Seriously, like it's awesome. What could you work with teachers? I know, but what about the parents? What can our parents take away from this? Learning from someone that has impacted 40,000 kids, which means all those kids have parents, right? And then the teachers, what can parents take away from this to bring back not only to their homes, but maybe to go to their teachers? Like maybe we should get asked into their schools 100%. But what are some practical things that parents could do?
Yeah, I think one of the first things is like, it's really important to model self-regulation and stress management. I know that's like easier said than done, but modeling, practicing like mindfulness or positive psychology is really impactful. A way you could do that is if you notice yourself starting to feel stressed and anxious, saying to your kid, hey, I've noticed I'm feeling a little stressed right now. My heart's kind of racing, feel a little tense. I'm going to practice a tool. And then, and just maybe invitational, but like, do you want to try it out with me? Like, I'm going to practice a strategy. And one tool I really like is called finger breathing. You take a hold of each finger, take a deep breath, and you switch hands. Yeah, Jake, perfect. You're doing it beautifully.
Okay, wait. Can you take me through it? Can you take me through it? I'll be your your model for everybody.
Please,
repeat after me, class.
I'm gonna yeah, that's great. Perfect. Okay, so take a hold of your left thumb with your right hand.
Okay.
Take a really big inhale through your nose. Pause at the top. Exhale, let it all go. Beautiful. Now switch. Take a hold of your right thumb. Take a really big inhale through your nose. Feel your chest expand. Pause at the top. Exhale, soften your body. Now take a hold of your left pointer finger. Take a really big inhale. Pause. Exhale out your mouth. Now take a hold of your right pointer finger. Big inhale. Pause at the top. Exhale, soften your body. Now take a hold of your left middle finger. Take that big inhale through your nose. Pause. Exhale, let it all go. Now take a hold of your right middle finger. Big inhale through your nose. Pause at the top. Exhale, let it all go. Now take a hold of your left ring finger. Big inhale. Pause at the top. Exhale, soften. Right ring finger. Take a big inhale. Pause. Exhale, relax your body. Take hold of your left pinky. Big inhale. Pause. Exhale. Last but not least, right pinky. Take a big inhale. Pause. Big exhale. And that is finger breathing.
Oh, that was, wow.
What's neat about that too, Jake, is that research has found that it takes 7 deep breaths to calm our nervous system. And in that practice, inherently you get 10, right? So you're inherently taking the breaths that you need to calm your nervous system.
Right. And you know what I felt too with my ADHD? I feel so much calm. I had so much energy, like when we were starting this, and I always have energy. I'm very intense, and that's an ADHD thing. And for parents, like if your kids, this is such a great strategy. I mean, I feel so calm right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a really crazy day, and to take that time to just, it doesn't take that long to just do that. Now, did you come up with that?
I learned it from my mindfulness teacher in high school. So, yeah.
That's so great. So those are examples of activities that the kids would do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great tool to do, you know, after coming back from lunch, because that's like a very high energy time and we need transition, or before a test, or as a brain break, right? It's just a really great way to press pause, reset, and then come back to the work.
We're so, especially in the digital age, we don't stop. Our kids are in school wired all day. They come home and play video games, then dinner time, they keep playing more video games to go to bed. You know, this is such a great, the kids can even do this in the car on the way home.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish I did, because that's normally when so much emotion from the day would build up for me, you know, at the end. But I didn't know what to do with it. You know, I didn't know what to do with all that emotion. So a way to like put it somewhere would have been really helpful.
And parents watching, do you have any questions for Tessa? You know, Tessa is a wealth of knowledge. And look, in our mentoring program, we find, like, we've worked with about 200 students now in 7 countries, and we have had the blessing of seeing, you know, 40,000 is not, 40,000. We're getting there, okay? but
you did some really important one-on-one
you know,
work, which is awesome.
right. But we get a lot of deep work in. But what we find is a lot of our kids hold together all day. They're just hanging on for dear life all day long. They're just getting beat up by everyone around all corners. Then they come home to mom and they just fall apart.
Yeah.
They fall apart. They freak out. And it impacts the siblings, and impacts everyone. And the one thing that they get that they can do that helps them feel in control is the video games. So do you find in your work with all these students that tech is that the kids are wanting to do this work or resisting this work because it's causing them to slow down and actually not be stimulated for a minute?
That's a great question. I would say it's like twofold. We're delivering this in schools, right? So everyone's like, thank you for the break, right? Like, so that's the like receptivity we're giving, right? It's like, thank you for taking a moment to pause. I would say the more our students get exposed to these tools, right, the more it becomes habitual. So the more it becomes, I notice my behaviors, I want to go scroll on Instagram or TikTok right now because I want to escape this emotion, but that's not really helping me process what I'm feeling. I'm going to do a tool instead. So by like consistently being exposed to these types of practices, it becomes more habitual and instinctive to rely on them when you would normally turn to like social media or whatnot, or video games.
Right, because look, it's easy stimulation in the classroom. I think a big thing with ADHD also is people with ADHD have a hard time regulating their body temperature.
Yeah.
I was this in school, okay? You know, like Alberton, I'm your student, right? And I would get hot all the time. and I need the room to be like 65 degrees or else I can't. It's so hard to focus when it's hot. I get antsy, agitated. I'd be fidgeting with things. My hands would be sweating, and then I get test anxiety. So I feel like does the breathing help regulate body temperature for when kids are feeling anxious or maybe even having a panic attack?
I don't know if it regulates body temperature, but I do know that my nervous system, when I'm having a panic attack and I'm overwhelmed, that coming back to my breath disrupts the anxiety pattern. And my boyfriend notices it today as like an adult when my eyes will get crazy. He'll be like, "Are you in thoughts land?" Like, because my eyes are just going back and forth. And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And so then I need to breathe, right? It's like I know that's the correlation for me. But I think what's really powerful about what you shared, Jake, is having that awareness for students, right? Being like, I know that my body gets overheated. I need to communicate that to the people around me, or just having that awareness of knowing that is such an empowering state because you know what you need to thrive.
Right.
And you don't feel out of control, right? You're like, oh, I just know I need this.
Right. And you know what I love too about this exercise? And we actually posted on Superpower Mentorship's Facebook page a similar tool, but it's a breathing exercise where you follow your hand. And the kids absolutely love it. I mean, there's just so much out there. Now, so for parents, we got the breathing, that's good. Are there tools for parents that they can learn can parents act like the teacher in this case? Yes, you work with teachers, but parents are like teachers, right? So did they take your courses?
We actually have a great at-home toolkit that I'm going to
You can also share your screen, by the way, if you'd like.
Oh, I can?
Yes, you
I'll
can.
pop it in the chat, though. Is the private?
I don't know. Let's see. Did you post it? Oh, it's the private chat, but I'll post it in the actual chat. You can also share your screen if you'd like.
Okay, cool. Well, we have this at-home toolkit that Jake is popping in the chat, which is awesome. And it shares 5 tools that you can go through with your children, and it's a really awesome resource. So we have finger breathing, which I had y'all through. Grounding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is really great. It's kind of like this sensory activity where you
want me to share my screen and pull this up?
Yeah, please do that.
Okay. I hope not. Okay, let's hold on.
I'm gonna share the right screen.
I've never done this before, so I'm kind of freaking out. Hold on. All right, window here.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Jake. So yeah, if you scroll down to like page maybe 4 or 5. Beautiful.
Can you guys see this? Should I make this bigger?
If you could scroll in a little bit. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Jake. So there's finger breathing, which is the tool I led y'all through. It's in English and Spanish. And so that's a tool that our students overwhelmingly love. The next tool, if you scroll down, Jake, is called grounding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is it to the next page?
Yeah, it's on the next page. Beautiful. And this tool is really awesome. You don't have to have a piece of paper and pen. You don't have to write it down, but it's essentially you name 5 things you can see in the room, 4 things you can physically feel, like your clothes, 3 things you can hear in this moment, 2 things that you're grateful for, and 1 thing that makes you unique. And so that one, we have a high school intern. Her name's Sarah. Shout out to Sarah. Sarah does this on her drive to school every morning. This is her way of coping. So that's another.
Maybe she's not writing while she's driving, though.
She's not writing. I've asked her that. Sarah's very responsible, and she is self-reflecting. And then the next tool that's awesome is hand tracing.
We just,
the one you exactly just did. And I think we have a demonstration of it too that Jake beautifully modeled.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm a hand model on the side, by the way.
Yeah. Did great.
Seinfeld, great Seinfeld episode for my Seinfeld fans out there. Okay.
I think there's some more, Jake. Let's see. But yeah, this resource is free. It's available. I would, go through the strategies on there and just try them out with your child and say like, hey,
nice.
I want to see if any of these work for you or for me, and we're going to try them out together. Make it super invitational. But consistency is really important, especially as like a trauma-informed practice. So making sure you say like, hey, like on Mondays or every day this week after school, we're going to like make it a routine that we try a new tool. I think that's really helpful for young people to know when something new is coming.
And by the way, I would say too, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
I would say we work with families also, and like make this a family thing. Sit around the family table and do it together during dinner. That like not people say grace before dinner. You guys should all do one of these before dinner. Just sit around, do this, and then eat. And then everyone will be calm. There'll be no fighting. Happily ever after, right? If only it was that simple.
This tool in particular would be a great one to do around a dinner table, gratitude flip. So essentially you state like a challenge and then you kind of find the like appreciation or gratitude for that challenge. So I might say, my apartment ceiling flooded last week at 3:30 in the morning. Which, is something people are not typically grateful for such an experience. But I might say, I am grateful for my apartment flooding at 3:30 in the morning because I am reminded of the immense amount of support and community I have in Colorado, because I got to see how people could show up for me. So that's how you flip it, right? You're saying like, I acknowledge this is really hard and I'm trying to find the appreciation for what is good in this challenge.
Wow. Oh, and we did miss one up here too. Flipping
your lid is a great way to explain to students or children like how our brains work, right? So it's Dr. Daniel Siegel's model. He has a great YouTube video that really breaks it down. But essentially it shows students how our brains work. So you could also just like show them this model as well as a way to break down, hey, this is how stress happens in our body. And this is how the areas of our brain help us navigate that stress.
Wow. Wait, there's one more.
Was there one more?
Never mind. This is just a letter.
Yeah. So those are some great tools. We also have an interest form on our website. So if you're a parent who's like, my child's school like needs these types of strategies, you can fill out that interest form and we'll get back to you.
And we also can we can check out your website, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
So yeah, this is Asset's website. I can put it in the comments. Or well, maybe Jake can. But essentially it's asset-edu.org. And this has a bunch of free tools, of different resources that teachers can engage with of, how do I get access at my school or a fellowship opportunity that we pay teachers to learn these strategies and participate in professional development. And you can follow us on social. It's at asset_education. But yeah, we offer over 90 lessons in our curriculum.
Wow.
But shout out to Gina Leach because she is our director of programs.
Shout out to Gina Leach.
She would not, the Asset would not run without her.
You gotta have someone like Gina. Everyone needs a Gina.
Everyone needs a Gina. She's the best. Jake
Everyone needs a Gina.
Gina.
Parents, do you have questions for our friend Tessa? I really hope that this was insightful. We're still, we still got some time, so I still got a few more questions for Tessa. And unless Tessa, you have questions for the parents. Yeah, we have, what Courtney just posted here that she plans on showing her 10th grader who is dealing with crippling anxiety and panic attacks right now. Okay, here's a question, Tessa. I'm gonna pull this. Courtney, if you don't mind, I'm gonna show this. I would like Tessa. I'm gonna put Tessa in the spot right here. No pressure. Okay. Now
I see that now. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, so as someone that has dealt with panic attacks,
Mm-hmm.
how can we give Courtney some tips for her daughter
I
or
love this
for her
question.
child? I'm sorry, I don't know what gender your child is, so we're going to say for your child.
This is a great question, Jake.
Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, Courtney, I think it's really important for your child to know they're not alone. Other people have experienced this before. Daughter, awesome.
Daughter.
Yeah. So what was really important for me was when I was in high school, my school director's daughter was at graduate school at Yale, and I had known that she had grown up with crippling anxiety like me. So I think what Jake's doing is absolutely incredible, is having mentors that are older than you who have walked through your shoes. To be able to say, to be an example of like, yes, you can go to college, you can achieve these things. So that was super profound for me, was to know other people in my life who had anxiety and were still functioning and thriving despite it. I think the other thing that really helps me when I'm having really bad anxiety is knowing it's temporary. But I've always felt the other side of it. That it's hard in the moment, but that it is a temporary sensation or experience. And I think the other thing is giving a lot of grace to yourself. I think it was so hard on myself for having panic attacks and beating myself up. And the more I could accept, like, I have panic attacks, I live with this, it doesn't have to dictate my life, like that acceptance piece actually helped me move past them quite a bit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, we're going to take Courtney off the spot here. Sorry, Courtney. I appreciate you sharing with that, because look, as you sharing, Courtney, I guarantee you there's another parent out there whose child is going through the same exact thing. So thank you for being vulnerable with us, and just putting yourself out there. We are a community, and we're like a big family. So again, thank you for that. Anyway, so Tessa, tell me about your vision for the future. What do you want to do? What kind of noise do you want to make in the space? Like, is there one school place? Is there one place where you would want to bring that change? Are you trying to go to the Congress? Like, what are you doing? What are you taking this trip?
That's a great question. Just trying to get to 75 schools next year. We're at 64
All right,
right
guys,
now.
let's do it. We're going to do it.
We're at 64 right now. 11 more to go. But I would say, the thing that I've learned is I really want to work with schools and educators that kind of really self-select into this work, that are aware of it. And that's why we offer a fellowship where we say, hey, educators from across the country, if you are committed to supporting your students' mental health and you want to learn social emotional learning tools, be part of a learning community, like, let's gather together. I think that really excites me. So continuing to offer our fellowship. But what I really would love to see is just that it doesn't have to be asset, right? But I want to see social emotional learning normalized and not talking about it, right? Because we talk about it a lot.
We talk about it a lot.
We do. And schools can talk about it, but they might not be walking the talk, right? And so my hope for the future is that schools are actually doing the work and not just saying that they do the work, and living that to be true. So whether that's asset or that's another program, like, that is my hope for the future. And whether that is policy work of, right, like, social emotional learning is required and it's required for this amount of minutes during the academic day, that'd be awesome. But for right now, we're just going to focus on getting our tools into the hands of more teachers, in whatever way we can, that's accessible.
Sounds good to me. Well, Tessa, I do and excited to be following you through this whole journey of yours. And I'm excited to have an opportunity to check back in with you in a few months, be like, hey, how's it going? And all of a sudden, you'll be like, we're at 100 schools. It's crazy. So,
and you helped us get there, Jake.
Parents, we're going to help her out. Parents, listen up. I need your help. Okay. I know you all have been very reactive towards my Facebook Lives in the past, which has been great. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to your kids' schools and show them Tessa's website and just let her website do the talking, because it can sell itself. All right. Tessa is on a mission to make sure your kids are going to have the social emotional skills for them to navigate this complex world. All right. So go post it everywhere. Asset is a rocket ship, and they're going to make some big difference in our space. So Tessa, thank you so much. Is there
Thank you,
anything
Jake.
that you would like to leave us with?
Well, I think the one thing that I think we should say, Jake, is like, I think it would be so cool if you and I could go back to Westport Public Schools and bring Superpower Consulting and Asset to Westport. So putting it out there into the universe, into the community. Bring Jake and Tessa back to the district. Do some good in a place.
All right, Jen Tucker, our first select woman. You hear that? We're coming. All right.
Ready or not?
We're coming here. Get ready. Anyway, so yes, I would be. That would be probably one of the greatest things to go back to the district that failed me and you, but not coming in heavy heated. We're coming here to say, you know what? It happened. Now we're here to change it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. That's something that
all right.
would be really cool.
I'm giving you a virtual handshake. That's a deal.
Yeah.
That's a deal. All right. Deal.
Let's do it.
Done.
Oh,
wow. Look, Dina,
we went to school together, didn't we?
Yeah, Dina, former classmate. I'm telling you, we should have an elementary school reunion. Anyway, so we do have a question. Do you have any tips for test anxiety and any tips for anxiety and fear for making decisions in the future? Nice.
Love that question. I would say for test anxiety, I like tools that I can do but aren't noticeable, right? Like the people around me. So when I used to have in-person meetings, one tool that I really like is called 4-7-8 breathing. So you inhale for 4, you hold your breath for 7, and you exhale for 8. That can be hard, right? The 4 and holding your breath for 7, but you could actually just double it. And the only thing that needs to be doubled is the inhale to the exhale. So you could do inhale for 3 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 6. And that will also calm your nervous system down. And that's something that you could be doing and no one would like notice around you. Mm-hmm. And any tips for anxiety and fear for making decisions in the future? I need to practice this more daily. I think one of the things that one of the things that helped me is grounding myself in the present moment for when I'm in like future fear mode. So instead of coming at it from a fear-based space, how can I come from at a calm space? So I like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that grounding tool that Jake and I shared earlier. That's a really great way to like be in the present moment. Another great one, for test anxiety that I just thought of is called body check-in. And just simply check in with a few parts of your body, like check in with your shoulders, check in with your forehead, check in with your feet. And that quick like 3-point check is a great way for both of these questions to like get present, tune in, and then have a little bit more of clear thought.
Nice. Can I add to that? Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Brandon, I got you. Okay. So what I do, it's a little weird and hopefully you don't have smelly feet, but I take my shoes off. I actually can't work with my shoes on because I can't feel the earth. I can't feel the ground. And there's something grounding about feeling the ground, literally. So whenever I used to sweat when I would take exams. Nice, Jen. Appreciate it. I used to sweat when taking exams, and that was really helpful. And the second thing that was really helpful for me, I actually learned this. I have a fear of getting shots because I'd pass out. I pass out for bizarre things. Okay. So what the nurse taught me, and I actually applied this to the classroom, was what she had me do was you kind of like clench your body, and then you slowly release from your feet, through your legs, for your torso, from your shoulders to your arms. And then you release all that built-in energy, and now you're calm again because you get the blood is all flowing. You're anxious, you clench, and then you just like lighten up, and then you're like, wow. So anyway, that was helpful for me. The only catch with that is you're not breathing. So I recommend you breathe. Try to do the breathing thing first. If that doesn't work, you can try that. But anyway, definitely take your shoes off. That's really helpful.
I love that.
Jen, by the way, Jennifer did share. Jennifer's great. Jennifer runs an awesome tutoring company.
Oh, awesome.
She said that our school district is in the process of hiring a social emotional learning specialist. So this would be perfect. I'll pass on it to our superintendent.
Thank you,
Hats off to you,
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Thank you very much. All right. So we're going to hang out for just a little bit. We got some more shots. If you have questions for Tessa, here, let's take this away. Yeah. Okay. Question, Tessa, for you, from me.
Yeah.
What is your superpower?
Ugh.
If you were to have one, because let me tell you why. I'll tell you why first.
Yes, please tell me.
I have a theory on superpowers because superpowers are very controversial in the world of the world, like LD world, because like superpowers are like not realistic because these are superhumans and like they don't struggle, they're perfect and they're immortal and all that. I'm going to argue that. And I'm going to say that Superman is not Superman. He's just Clark Kent. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? Iron Man is Tony Stark. I don't know Wonder Woman's name, but you get what I'm saying, right? These are typical people. These are outcasts. These are the ones who are different in school. These are the ones that were bullied. These are the ones that are misunderstood. And they had to go down this whole mission to embrace who they are. And that thing that they embraced is their superpower. Okay, we can't shoot lasers out of our eyes. Well, maybe you can, Tessa. I can't, right? But we all have a unique superpower in us because we all learn differently. So that's kind of where it comes from. So Tessa, no pressure. But
can I name 2 superpowers? Am I allowed to name 2?
You can have as many superpowers as you want. There's no rules here.
Okay, so I'm going to name 2 that come to mind. The first is I think my anxiety has actually been a superpower for my entrepreneurial career.
Okay, tell me more.
Because my entrepreneurial friends that have their own companies and did not grow up with anxiety, they get really thrown when they're anxious, right? Because they're like, they've never experienced this before. Like, how do they cope? They're under a lot of stress. But every time I get anxious as an entrepreneur, I'm like, I've been here before. Like, this is all I've ever known.
This is
like,
important.
So I honestly think it's been a gift for me being an entrepreneur because it doesn't throw me in the way it does. I see my other entrepreneur friends who've never experienced anxiety. So I'd say anxiety is number 1. The second one I would say is persistence. Like, I don't give up. I will email you like 20 bajillion times if you're someone I want to meet with politely. I'm not going to stalk you or whatever, but I'm going to politely follow up like once a week, every other week till I get the meeting I want. And
stalking is relative in this case.
Okay. Thank you, Jake. But I'm going, like, if I know there's a school or there's a program or a person I want to meet with, like, I'm really dedicated to like following up and making sure I get that meeting. And I think that persistence is what's gotten asset to where it is today, is like, I'm not going to give up. And I think that's really been a superpower because I think a lot of people get beaten down. And if you're not responding to my email or if you're giving me a no, it might be a yes later on. So there you go.
No is the beginning of any negotiation.
Yeah, there we go. Beautiful.
Yes. Well, you are an inspiration to us all. Keep being a role model for young girls all over the place. I'm sure all of our parents watching this with daughters are going to show this to their kids and say, it's okay. It's possible. If she's been through what you're going through now, you are inspiring. You've inspired me. And I'm really excited to continue working with you on, making some serious change in our very old educational system. So Tessa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's an honor. And guys, please go out and watch Tessa's TED Talk. And it is very, very good. So definitely go check it out. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jake, for having me. And thank you for the work you're doing, Jake. I think it's really, really important that we, again, like I said, what's been profound for me is seeing other people that are older than me go through a similar experience and know that they've lived through it and became successful adults. So thank you, Jake, for the work you're doing.
Look, as the oldest in my family, that's the thing I wish I had growing up, was a cool 20-year-old that was like giving me some good tips and advice that I was going through what I've been through. So we're all in the space of trying to make a difference for these kids. That's what it's about. So Thank you again. Happy Monday. And
Happy
have a
Monday.
good night, everybody. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here for you. That's what it's all about. All right. Have a good night.